What is going on, you guys? I am back yet again with another awesome film. So without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? In the suburban part of California, Emma, a teenager in high school, has just moved there with her family. While standing by her locker, Emma stares longingly at two of the other teenagers making out. She's shocked back to reality when her friend Gracie startles her, and a bit embarrassed at being caught staring, Emma suggests that they go to class immediately. Under the watchful eye of their biology teacher, who's also Emma's father, she and Gracie prepare themselves mentally and physically for the upcoming dissection that they would need to do on a frog. After school, Emma is approached by her wild sister Stacy, along with her boyfriend, who leaves them alone after giving Stacy a kiss. Knowing that her sister has a crush on him, Stacy calls out to their neighbor Evan and offers him a ride home, which he graciously accepts. Their father picks them up along with Evan, and during the car ride, Michael receives a call from his wife that seemed a bit off. Emma notices her father's frowned brow and the subtle tension that lingers in the air after the call. That night, as they gather around the dining table for a family dinner, an awkward silence settles upon them, broken only by the clinking of forks against the plates. Later that night, while on a call with Gracie, Emma receives a paper airplane through her window. While looking out, she realizes that it was from Evan, who was standing outside. She goes out to speak to him, but accidentally meets his rude stepfather, and feeling sorry for him, she kisses Evan on the cheek before going back home. Emma finds her father reading in the living room and asks him if everything was okay with him and her mom, and Michael explains that getting laid off from teaching PhD candidates to teaching high school kids has been really hard on him and his wife, but he promises that they would be able to adjust to the new changes soon. The next day during class, Emma notices that her friend Gracie looks sick. As she's asking her if she's okay, Gracie starts coughing up blood before hurrying out of class. Emma follows her friend out and finds her fallen in the courtyard, and Emma and a male student find her in a seizure-like state. While Emma goes to get some help, Gracie vomits blood all over the boy. Later, Emma's given a checkup by the school nurse, who asks her a few questions about her friend's state. For fear of contamination, the school is closed for the day, and all the kids are asked to go home. Michael informs his daughters that their mom was stuck at the airport, unable to get a taxi, and tells them to go home straight while he picks up their mom. At home, Emma finds out that there was a new dangerous disease that the news was calling worm flu that was getting everybody sick. Emma reaches for her phone and dials Gracie's number. The call goes straight to voicemail, and Emma's anxiety intensifies as she leaves a heartfelt message urging Gracie to reach out as soon as possible. Emma gets a call from their father telling her that he's unable to return to town because the government has closed off all the roads. He tells them that they were ensuing some type of quarantine and that they should stay inside until he's able to get their mother to come home. Downstairs, Stacy suggests that they make brownies for dinner, and they sit in front of the TV watching the president give a speech about the new disease. While getting a glass of water, Emma is shocked by Stacy's boyfriend CJ, who snuck into the house so he'd be able to spend the night with Stacy. The next morning, Emma is woken up by the sound of a military truck driving across their streets and a CDC van dropping off supplies at every door. Stacy tells Emma that they should be going to a party that night despite Emma's constant warnings. While checking her phone, Emma finds out that her sister has texted Evan asking him to come to the party by pretending that she was Emma. Forced to go, Emma heads to the party where nobody was taking any precautions from the new deadly virus. She meets Evan, who asks her to dance and is given alcohol by her sister, who's looking for CJ, who suddenly disappeared. Stacy finds CJ cheating on her with another student, and after a brief altercation, Emma convinces her sister that he wasn't worth it and tries to take her back home. And suddenly, a kid starts attacking the partygoers, creating a commotion that forces the crowd to disperse. Emma and Stacy hide from the boy until they can find an opening to escape, and they huddle together, their breaths shallow and rapid, their eyes wandering about searching for an escape route. Suddenly they're attacked by the kid, who tries to infect Emma, who struggles to cover her nose and mouth. The boy coughs blood on Stacy, but Evan saves Emma from being infected. The three then hurry home before the police could catch them. The girls wake up to their door being knocked loudly, and it was the CDC that started to make house visits, checking on people to find anyone who was infected. After their checkup, they receive a call from their father, warning them to lock every door and window to make sure that nobody goes in or out. He tells Stacy to find his gun and to keep it with her at all times, and before he could tell them anything else, they lose the signal and the call gets disconnected. That night, as darkness blankets the suburban neighborhood, Emma and Gracie find themselves peeping through the window, their eyes fixed on the house next door. Suddenly, a bright flash lights up the night sky as their next-door neighbor Mr. Toomey fires his flare gun in the air. within moments of the flare's ignition, and the military swiftly descends upon the neighborhood. The military personnel restrain Mr. Toomey and force their way inside his house. Moments later, they emerge carrying Mr. Toomey's wife, who is apparently infected. Deciding it would be better if they went out and tried to find their father, Stacy and Emma drive to the border, but they're stopped by soldiers that threaten to fire their guns unless the sisters turn around their car. Not having a choice in the matter, the girls return home, and Stacy soon finds a growth forming at the base of her neck and starts getting incredibly hungry. At dinner, Stacy tells Emma that their father had cheated on their mom with one of his students, and they kept the secret from Emma, assuming that she won't be able to handle the truth. Emma is devastated by the news, but before she could say anything, they are startled by a loud knock on the door, and Evan yells for Emma to open the door. Emma opens the door, letting Evan inside. He tells them that his stepfather Bill had been infected and was coming after him, and Evan then takes the gun from Emma and prepares himself for an attack. Bill breaks in through the window but cannot see the kids due to his poor eyesight, and Evan signals for Emma to be very quiet while he reaches out to grab the fallen gun. But it was Stacy who shoots Bill right in the head before he gets the chance to infect Emma, saving her sister yet again. Stacy collapses and has a seizure just like all the other infected people, and realizing that she was infected, Emma hides her sister in the bathroom so she doesn't get taken away by the military. While Stacy cries out to be let out, Emma and Evan devise a plan to help her sister. Emma starves her sister so that it keeps the parasite from growing, as she talks to her every minute while attempting to give her some strength. Emma heads up to the roof to try and get a signal on her phone, but to no avail, and she tells Evan that she might never see her parents again, and he consoles her, telling her that it was too early to give up. She tells him that her sister is the only thing that she has left now, and that she couldn't abandon her as well. While Emma and Evan were on the roof, CJ sneaks into their house and calls out for Stacy, explaining that the military had left, and that he and a few others were leaving town soon. Stacy yells for help, luring CJ to get closer to opening the door, and then drags his arm through the opening and devours it. Emma and Evan find CJ dead with his arm ripped off, and Stacy crying and apologizing, saying that the parasite made her do it. Emma, recalling lessons from her father's science classes, thinks of a plan to remove Stacy's parasite from her neck. She crushes sleeping pills and adds them to Stacy's food before giving her sister the meal. After devouring the food, Stacy tells her sister that if she doesn't make it, Emma should go find their father and apologize for her. The medication knocks Stacy unconscious, and Emma begins to extract the parasite. But Stacy awakens and horrifies them by pulling out the parasite herself, and Evan stomps the scary-looking worm to death. The next day, local radio announces that the government had ordered an immediate evacuation of the citizens located outside the quarantine zone. And meanwhile, Emma brings her sister some soup and checks on her neck wound, which seems to be a lot better. Stacy thanks Emma for saving her life, and later Emma is woken up by a horrifying dream of her sister being taken over by the parasite once more. Evan calls out to her from the kitchen, showing her the empty cabinet, and apparently Stacy had stolen all of the food and escaped. Emma follows her sister into the house and discovers a large group of infected people. They are then chased up the stairs by the infected people, and they find Stacy, who is struggling to keep self-control. She tells them that she can hear what the other infected people plan to do to them, and Stacy begs her sister to kill her rather than suffer any longer. Emma watches in horror as the parasite takes full control over her sister and is finally forced to shoot her when the parasite makes Stacy try and attack her. Emma is devastated by what she did and falls on her knees, holding her dead sister's hand. Knowing that they didn't have much time, Evan forces Emma to get up and leave through the window. Outside, they notice military jets preparing to bomb the whole town and barely survive the explosion by jumping into a neighbor's pool. From under the pool, they can see the hot yellow flames engulf the house. When they finally make it out of the water to breathe, they see the house had been destroyed with all the infected inside. Emma and Evan walk to the gas station where Emma's father had called from, and they find a picture of the family, with a note on the back that says to meet him in her uncle's house in Washington. Realizing that her father was alive and safe, Emma hugs Evan out of relief, and Evan finds a vacant car on the street, getting them away to reach Washington. In the car, Emma thanks Evan for being there for her throughout everything, and she leans over and kisses him on the lips. He then starts the car and they begin their journey to find Emma's father. And that is how our recap today comes to an end. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Make sure to leave a like, leave me a comment, also subscribe to my channel. I love you guys so much and I promise to see you on my next recap. Bye!